Thank you very much.
Darkness at my door. Knock, knock on my door. Left the light burning through the night, praying for the morn. Heaven hold my hand, still my trembling hand. Oh my Lord, must have dropped my soul somewhere in the sinking sand. Ooh, now I'm stumbling. Towards the promised land. Weary.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Clay Music Foundry. Thank you so much for coming out this afternoon. Appreciate you being here. This is our next to the last of our month of Sundays with my good buddy Shawn Mullins, and we are just excited that you're going to be here to share it with us. Couple little things. If you've never been here before, that lobby bar is open the whole show. We don't do an intermission on these shows, so you're welcome to go back to the lobby and get you a bucket of beers and come on back in. We encourage you to drink. We don't encourage you to drink and drive. Uber and Lyft will pick you up right at our front door. So please use them if you're drinking, but we do want you to drink. So that would be a wonderful thing. Let's see, what else? Oh, this is a great time for me to say hello to you folks watching on the live feed. We do live stream these shows. They're on EOP Live on YouTube, and they're at Shawnee's Space Face Place, and they're our Space Face Place, and they're all over. I'm sure the Chinese have something to do with that. So thank you, Chinese, for helping us do this, because we're grateful. You folks watching on the stream, you'll notice right at the top of the chat box there's a thing that says tip jar. And we would just thank you right now in advance for your generosity, because I know you're going to be that way and throw a bunch of money into that tip jar. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you in advance. So thank you. Thank you. Did I say thank you? Thank you. You folks in the house, thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here, because it's been a weird time, but I think the panorama is over. I think we're on into like real life now, and I think we're going to continue there regardless of what deltas are coming at us. I think we're still over the panorama. So there you go. We're into real life, and let's go forward. Let's do it. Let's live, and let's do what we're supposed to do, and do it the right way, of course. But yes, we are going to do that, and we're going to do that here. So if you'd like to know what's coming up in the future, there's a little website called Eddie Owen Presents, and you can go there and find out all the stuff that's going on. So, and I'd just be happy if you'd do that. I've only known Shawn Mullins for a few years, like since he was in high school, and I was a young man before I was old and decrepit like I am now. So, but it's been a wonderful trip to watch him grow and excel. He's got to be one of my favorite storytellers, songwriters that are out there. And I'll tell you how I know that he's really good, because I've been doing this for, 40 years. And I've been married to my beautiful wife for 30 of those 40 years. And she actually likes Shawn Mullins. And I'm going to tell you something. That is a big barometer. If she likes him, well, he must be really good, because she don't like a lot of them. So, And so there you go. So to one of my wife's favorite performers that happens to be here this evening, I'd like for you guys to sound like you're 1,000 people and give a nice welcome to Shawn Mullins.
This has been so good to get back out and do some live shows, and at my favorite place to do them too. So thank you so much for coming out tonight, and thanks to those of you watching at home. Usually we've got some folks waking up in Australia and tuning in and having their breakfast and watching, and people from all over. So thank you guys for tuning in to my Facebook, as well as Eddie Owen Presents YouTube. Well, it's Sunday night and I'm back again. With my old guitar and my trusty grin. And the best you don't come in here sign tattooed on this heart of mine. From a dirty brown shag carpet stage, I sing my song and I pace the cage. Stuck up here in the twilight zone, staring out into the great unknown. There's an old Hank Williams figurine hanging by a guitar string from the pull chain of the Pabst Blue Ribbon sign, with a clock that stopped on 9:30. Yeah, the time ain't changed around here in years, y'all. It's the same sad stories, same old tears. There ain't nobody who wants to be alone out here in the great unknown. You can find a stool there at the bar. It's designed to take you nowhere far. They got a mirror back behind the whiskey shelves, where we don't look back at ourselves. Just past the men's room down the hall, barely hanging there on a plaster wall, faded sticker on the old payphone. It says, "Welcome to the great unknown." It's out beyond the yonder star. It's all up in there where you are. By some cosmic wind we're blown out into the great unknown. Yeah. hopes and dreams and ash and dust. It all seems to either rot or rust. Souls wrapped up in flesh and bone, heartbeats in the great unknown. Well, it's Sunday night and I'm back again. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You know, someone before the show was asking me about if I still do stuff with Matthew Sweet, and we were in a band together back in, I think we formed around 2001 and it ended in 2003. It was a band called The Thorns, and yeah. Oh, you bought the record? That's cool. Yeah. It's weird because we toured around for like 2.5 years, and I mean, we did all kinds of touring, like opening for the Dixie Chicks, and then the Jayhawks and us went out on a U.S. and European tour, and you know, we got a lot of critical acclaim, but it seemed like the record company was not that happy because we only sold 250,000 records. Of course, now, you know, if you sold 250,000 records today, you'd be like kicking butt. Back in the early 2000s, that was a failure. And but this was one of the Thorn songs, and I ended up putting it on one of my records too. And I like the song a lot. And it was written kind of with the idea of being a New Yorker, a Manhattan New Yorker, right after 9/11. And I wrote this with Pete Droge and Glenn Phillips from Toad the Wet Sprocket, and a guy named Marshall Altman, who's a great songwriter and a producer. He's up in Nashville now. And I don't do this one a lot. I'll see if I can do this one here for you. It's called No Blue Sky. It's cold outside, I don't blame the weather. No one's calling, no one's at the door. But I can't stay inside all day. The blinds pulled to the floor. There's no blue sky in my town lately. Everybody looks at the ground, and where I am is making me hazy. But the sun never looks so pretty going down. It ain't right, it feels like forever. So many changes, I can't stop keeping score. Yeah, but if you want me, you know where I will be. I don't get out much anymore. hazy, but the sun never looks so pretty going down. The sun never looks so pretty going down. Blue sky, come find me. I'm waiting. Sun never looked so pretty. Sun never looked so pretty. Sun never looked so pretty. Cloud and rain, smoke and smog here. Won't see too many stars tonight. Biding time, waiting on the sunset. One last glance of gold, then goodbye. 'Cause there's no blue sky in my town lately. Everybody looks at the ground, and where I am is making me hazy. The sun never looks so pretty going down. There's no blue sky in my town lately. Everybody looks at the ground. I've been distracted and burned out. I've been crazy. The sun never looks so pretty going down. The sun never looks so pretty going down. The sun never looks so pretty. The sun never looks so pretty. The sun never looks so pretty. All right. Yeah, I got to get that falsetto warmed up. Not a big drinker, but Larry John Wilson, my old hero, and Eddie's too. I'm sure he used to say, "Let me get me a little nip, cut the dust out of my throat." Yeah, when I was a curly-headed baby, my daddy set me down on his knee. He said, "Son, you go to school and you learn your letters. Don't you be no dusty miner boy like me." I was born and raised at the mouth of the Hazard Holler, where the coal carts rolled and they rumbled past my door. Yeah, but now they stand in a rusty row all empty, 'cause the L&N don't stop here anymore. Well, I used to think my daddy was a black man. He had script enough to buy the whole company store. But But now he goes to town with empty pockets. Lord, his face is white as the February snow. I was born and raised at the mouth of the Hazard Holler, where the coal carts rolled and rumbled past my door. Yeah, but now they stand in a rusty row all empty, 'cause the yelling don't stop here anymore. Oh, no, no. Last night I dreamed I went down to the office to get my payday like I done before. Them old kudzu vines is growing right through the doorway. There was leaves and grass growing right up through the floor. I was born and raised at the mouth of the Hazard Holler, where the coal carts rolled and rumbled past my door. Yeah, but now they stand in a rusty row, all empty, 'cause the yelling don't stop here anymore. Oh, I was born and raised at the mouth of the Hazard Holler, where the coal carts rolled and rumbled past my door. Oh, now they stand in a rusty row, all empty, 'cause the yelling don't stop here anymore. No, the yelling don't stop here anymore. I said the yelling don't stop here anymore. Yeah, that's an old folk song by Gene Ritchie, and I first heard it on the Johnny Cash album when I was a little boy, and I always was intrigued by it. And my dad and granddad and brother-in-law, they were all railroad workers, and my grandfather was a switchman on Southern Railway. And they called him Red Mullins. He had red hair, and he was kind of a famous switchman. He's a real crotchety old dude. And a crotchety young man, too, I would imagine. Right after the Second World War, when he came back from fighting the Japanese in the Pacific, he joined the railroad and became an organizer for a union organizer. So they hadn't been really unionized here, and he helped them get good workers' rights and that kind of thing. And he was kind of the, if you looked up Southern Democrat in the dictionary or Webster's encyclopedia or whatever, you would see his picture. He was hated Newt Gingrich with a passion. And I remember that. Even in his old age, we would sit. He would love to watch. He always watched Channel 2 News. And if a little thing came on with Newt Gingrich, he would just start glaring and God, just. He looked like Yosemite Sam without the hair and the mustache, just like. Yeah, he was a cool old guy, but railroad man, big time. So anyway, I was infatuated with trains, and I noticed in the first song a train went by, and that's one of the experiences here at the Red Clay. And actually, it's always been that way. Wherever Eddie goes, he makes sure there's a train nearby the club. Trackside Tavern was the first, and then Eddie's Attic. You could still hear the train from the stage of Eddie's Attic. And now here. And I don't know if he does it on purpose. It just happens to work out that way. Let's see, I need to get in tune here. This old guitar, it's a 1955 Gibson, and And I mean, there's some lot older ones than this, around, but this is a good workhorse, and I don't mind making scars on it. You start getting into the pre-war Gibsons, and you don't really want to mess them up too much. And my oldest one got smashed by I won't name the airline, but it starts with Delta. And I've got to get that fixed, and I'm hoping they're going to help me out with that. That's the worst thing about it, is you don't know what plane you're going to be on sometimes. You can plan ahead. And a lot of times, almost always, they'll let you put your guitar in a closet if it's a really expensive instrument, and you're nice, and say, hey, and it's in a gig bag, a nice padded gig bag. You say, can I put it in the closet? And they'll, oh yeah, sure, most of the time. And so I'd checked ahead and everything, and the flight was to Baton Rouge, and I had a little gig out there, but at the last minute, I'm standing in the window looking out at the tarmac, and I see the plane that pulls up is a different plane. So they've changed planes on me to a smaller plane that has no closet, and there's no way to fit the guitar in the overhead. It's too small. So they had to put my gig bag in the undercarriage of the plane, and it got smashed. That's the way it goes. I just want to light you up, babe, like a fire. I just want to turn you on, and take you high. Everybody's got a flat screen. Everybody's gotta be seen. Everybody wanna be famous. Ain't nobody gonna blame us. Everybody wants the real deal. Everybody wants to cop a good feel. Everybody want more money. Everybody wants a taste of your honey. I just want to light you up like a fire. I just want to take you on, baby, turn you on and take you high. Everybody wants to pick your guitar. Everybody wanna ride in that fast car. Everybody wants a puff of your pipe dream. Everybody wanna lick of your ice cream. Yeah, the preacher wanna tell you how to live right. Your mama and your daddy got you uptight. Your lover gonna go and pick another fight. I just wanna keep you up all night. I just want to light you. Sing it with me, I love that. Light you up like a fire, yeah. I just want to turn you on, baby. Turn you on and take you higher. This old world, they can bring you down. Turn that pretty smile to a frown. It can break your heart and make you sad and drive you stark, raving mad. I just want to light you up, baby. Light fire, like a fire. I just want to turn you on, turn you up and take you higher. I just want to light you up like a fire. I just want to turn you on and take you high. Thank you. All right. Yeah, well, I woke up in a cold sweat from a dream at 3 a.m. I was drifting on the sea of shadows and the rain was whipping in the wind. I saw a man dressed all in black reach out and take the helm. And he charted us a course out into the spirit realm. Well, I can taste the salt and feel the blisters on my hands as I'm pulling at the oars, rowing on to glory land. And sitting in the stern singing hymns and talking trash is my broken guardian angel, the ghost of Johnny Cash. Well, Johnny's quoting from the Bible while I'm trying to steer this leaky craft. And his familiar voice reminds me I'm a man who's cut in half. His tarnished halo slips and shines as the raging billows crash. And I'm riding out the delusion with the ghost of Johnny Cash. Some sinners need their saints to be survivors of the fall. 'Cause when you're down here on your knees, most angels look too tall. So I'll just live this life out dust to dust and ash to ash, with my guide from the other side, the ghost of Johnny Cash. You gotta stand for something, 'cause when you're gone, you're gone. You know, the devil lost a lot of souls when Johnny put that black suit on. He's still flipping off the Pharisees and laughing at old Scratch, while he haunts the halls of heaven, the ghost of Johnny Cash. Some sinners need their saints to be survivors of the fall. When you're down here on your knees, most angels look too tall. So I'll just live this life out, dust to dust and ash to ash, with my guide from the other side, the ghost of Johnny Cash. Yeah, I'll just live this life out, dust to dust and ash to ash, until I'm raising hell in heaven with the ghost of Johnny Cash. Thank you. Isn't that a wonderful tune? That was written by Chuck Cannon and Phil Madeira. And Phil actually dreamed that dream. And he dreamed that he had been in some type of terrible accident where he lost half of his body. And then he was on the river in this boat. And yeah, Johnny Cash was at the helm of this boat and reading scripture and hymns and stuff. It was kind of mind-blowing dream, and he woke up and wrote down the first verse or two and then emailed it to Chuck the next morning, and in great Chuck Cannon form, he emailed the next two verses back, and they just kept going and wrote that song via email. Pretty amazing. Isn't that a wonderful song? I got to give credit where credit is due, man. And that's, I did a radio interview one time in Portland, Oregon, and the DJ, I played that song, and the DJ said, you know, that's the greatest, I think that's the greatest song you've ever written. And I said, well, I didn't write that song. And she said, well, I think then it's the greatest song you never have written. Picking songs part of the deal when you're a singer. You have to pick good songs. If you don't write them all, you know, you try to, the ones that you didn't write, you need to pick ones that are just amazing songs. And so I feel like that one was one that I couldn't help, you know, to record. I put that on the Light You Up record, and you know, I wouldn't have been able to. I'm a different kind of writer. But to sing that song and to perform it and deliver it, I love doing it. And sometimes that's part of the deal. You find a great song and you want to do it. You know, I'm not sure that Frank Sinatra really wrote a lot of it all, but he sure knew how to pick the songs, didn't he? You know, right? Elvis. There you go. Yeah. Of course, now Elvis did get 50% of the songs publishing, though. If he did record it, the Colonel made sure that Elvis got 50% of the income from the songs publishing, which the Colonel got 50% of that. That's a very high percentage for a manager, by the way. The Colonel evidently had some gambling problems, and that's why he kept Elvis on the road so much. Because he was always pissing away money, and hey, here comes the train again. And even though he was getting 50% of Elvis's money, he still needed more. That's unbelievable. I remember being, however I was, I guess in 1977, I would have been 9. Something like that. And I remember my mom was taking night classes for education degree at Georgia State, downtown Atlanta. And I remember sometimes I would go with her, and I would sit in the back of the class, and because we couldn't afford, you know, a babysitter or whatever, so I'd go with her. And I remember we were walking across the concrete campus there, and I noticed a newspaper stand. And in big bold letters, the newspaper read, "The King is dead." And I didn't know what that meant, so I asked my mom, and she was a huge Elvis fan. I said, Mom, what king is dead? And she said, oh, honey, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. And I have a really clear memory of that. It's one of those strange memories, you know. But yeah, that's where I was that day. I was on the campus of Georgia State with my mom. I've met a lot of cool people while I travel all over the world. It's one of the things that I love about what I do, and just kind of getting to know folks, or even meeting and talking to hobos has been a thing for me, and especially in the early days, because I was practically a hobo myself. I didn't hop trains, but I was living in my van for most of the time, and you know, I'd either stay in a campground and sleep in the van. I had it set up to where I could sleep in there and put all my gear underneath, and sometimes I'd pull into my buddy's driveway and run an extension cord into the house so I had some electricity for heat or whatever out there if they didn't have an extra bed. There was a guy I met in downtown Portland, Oregon. Portland's changed quite a bit since then. They're going through some issues right now, to say the least. This time when I met Frank, who this song is about, there were some homeless folks there for sure, but they weren't, you know, Trustafarian homeless folks. They were wanting like a bunch of white kids with dreadlocks, you know, causing problems. It was more of a, you know, this guy, for instance, was a Vietnam vet, and he was an artist, and he tried to make a living drawing people on the street, doing caricatures and things. And he did okay. He did enough to get by, but he didn't have enough to sleep. So you know, when it got colder, he would find him a shelter that he could pay $7 or $8 and sleep in at night. And but he had done a tour in Vietnam, at least one tour, and came home in 1969 and ended up in downtown Portland, Oregon. And I would imagine what that place would have been like in 1969. I bet it was a real hippie, you know, like the quintessential hippie town, like a small San Francisco, I'm sure. And he told me great stories over the years, because I've met him several times and talked to him, and I don't think he remembers me each time I come, but I always remember him. He's easy to spot, and I bet he's still around. I hope he still is. Well, Frank don't mind the rain. He kind of digs the sound. Well, Portland in November can sometimes get you down when you're standing in a doorway trying to keep out of the cold, and no one's looking for you. You got no place to go. Well, Frank, he don't mind begging. He could use a buck or two, though. Get a bed down at the Mission, maybe sleep a whole night through. He might dream about Maria, a girl that he once knew. We all need a little sunshine. We all need a little sunshine. Everybody needs a little sunshine. Too many days dark and gray, need a little sunshine. Well, Frank touched down at Pioneer Square, June of 1969. He thumbed here up the West Coast to get the war off of his mind. And that's where he met Maria, and she made him feel so fine, singing, we all need a little sunshine. She was singing, we all need a little sunshine. All right, everybody needs a little sunshine. Love was free sunshine, sweet sunshine. Frank wakes up at sunrise. He hears a distant train. He finds a piece of cardboard in the alley by the drain. He writes his message black and bold, remembers why he came here. We all need a little sunshine. We all need a little sunshine. Everybody needs a little sunshine. Can't take another day. Dark and gray. We need a little sunshine. Just a little sunshine. Oh, everybody needs, yeah. We all need a little sunshine. Frank don't mind the rain. He kinda digs the sound. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Hey, I want to take a minute and thank my weekly sponsor. And not only have I been blessed to do these shows, but over the last year and a half, I was doing live streams on my Facebook page out of the house, and people were so kind and generous to tip and keep the lights on and the food in the fridge at the Mullins household, and I appreciate everybody so much. And I also have a great sponsor that threw in a little money every week to help me out, and it's called Live at the Print Shop. Now outside we've got some merchandise. You'll notice the T-shirts and CDs and albums. And there's a place called the Print Shop in Kennesaw, Georgia, and they print up all the T-shirts and do all that for us. And also the guy who owns it, Adam Blank, he has a concert series he runs out of his basement, and it's called Live at the Print Shop. And it's very cool. Really, really professionally done concert series. It sounds great and it looks great, and you can watch it on YouTube. So go to YouTube tonight or tomorrow, whenever you can, and check that out. Live at the Print Shop. A lot of Atlanta artists as well as national artists have come through there. Collective Soul, Driving and Crying. I've done in the show, obviously, Michelle Malone, David Ryan Harris, Angie Aparo, The White Buffalo. Let's see, a bunch of different ones. And in fact, Driving and Crying's latest record is put out on the Print Shop label. And it's a live record done right there at the Print Shop. And so y'all thank those guys for me and put your hands together for Live at the Print Shop. It's fantastic. And thank you. Thank you to Adam and the crew there, and Sonny who does the printing. He's amazing.
Hey, Shawn.
Hey.
Just because I'm here on the day with my wife, I'm just going to tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to the people last night, Ronnie Harper,
All right, thanks to the people online that are tipping tonight. Thank you very much. Ron Harper, you're always so kind to us. Thank you so much, Ron.
Nikki Allen,
Nikki Allen,
Mike and Melissa Johnson,
Michael and Melissa Johnson,
Mary Phelan,
Mary Phelan,
Carrie Edwards,
Carrie Edwards,
Michael Younger,
Michael Younger,
Mary Nugent,
Mary Nugent. No,
John Nunley,
Mary's no kin to Ted, as far as we know. But if she was, that'd be all right. And then Nunley, who's the Nunley's first? John Nunley.
and Jim Young.
And Jim Young. Thank you guys for your tips. We appreciate you so much. I'm going to Alaska. Oh man, I want to. Oh, I know. If I can remember the lyric, I'll do it. I love that song. I haven't done that one in so long. I'm going to Alaska. How's it start off? I know it starts off like that. I know, but I've wrote a bunch of them. You'll forget ones that you don't do all the time. That's the thing about that. You know, you'll see a lot of the guys that have written thousands of songs, and they'll have a teleprompter or a computer nearby and I'm not one of those guys, evidently, to have it that down. I'm sorry, I don't remember all the lyric, or I'd hate that I'd mess that one up. I do remember how I wrote that one anyway. I was on my way for the first time to Alaska, and I was going to play Anchorage and Juneau, and that was amazing. I love doing it, and I hope to get back there. I've played there a couple of times, but Anchorage is kind of a weird little town, and the place I play is this old kind of honky-tonk called Chilkoot Charlie's. And it can be cool or it can be really rough. It just depends on what night you're there and who's there in there. I mean, it can be like, you know, Roadhouse. And but there's this great cover band that plays there, and whenever I'm there, I'll jump up on the stage and sing a couple of songs with them. And
Nobody knows your face.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they know my voice, but not my face. That's the case anywhere. I used to get, nobody knows anybody's business there, really. You know, it's an interesting town, and everyone's running from something. If you end up out there, it's the wild for sure. She cooks him ham and hoe cakes at 5:30 every morning. She does the dishes and she irons his uniforms. And she thinks she might have loved him once, but that was so long ago. And the rain pours down like a holy waterfall over the Gulf of Mexico. The boardwalk's deserted, yeah, and the beach is all closed down. The middle school punk rockers, they ride their skateboards through this little town. And she looks back and she daydreams about things and people she ain't never seen, just to keep from being blue. And she gets home about 3:15 and she drives her brother to the liquor store down the parked on the state line on this cold November day. And pretty soon I'll be a driving fool somewhere down this lost highway. Then I hear a voice from my soul's core saying, freedom's just a metaphor, you know you got nowhere to go, you got nowhere, boy. And the rain pours down like a holy waterfall over the Gulf of Mexico. Over the Gulf of Mexico. Over the Gulf of Mexico. It was written in the parking lot of the Floribama, if you know that place, any of you guys. Yeah, that was where that was written, and used to go down there for a little festival once a year called the Frank Brown Festival, where they have the mullet toss and all that. Larry John Wilson invited me there. I love me some Larry John. Miss him every day. I think about Larry John Wilson. He was, when he first came to Eddie's Attic, I don't know, he was probably there for the first time the same year it opened. And he had been out of the music business for years. He'd been living down there at Perdido Key, Orange Beach area of the Gulf. And he had been in Nashville before that, like for the mid-'70s through the early '80s. And tried his, you know, he had a record deal and done all that and toured around and kind of gave it up, you know. He just decided that wasn't for him, that whole race. And he was able to find friends he could be around down there on the Gulf. But the bug wasn't ever out of Larry John. He had that bug still, you know. And so sometime, I think it was in the spring of '93, he shows up at Eddie's attic back in the day when Eddie owned it, and he drove it was like a canary yellow Cadillac convertible from like the late '60s or something. It was so cool. He pulls up to the cul-de-sac there where the courthouse is, and he walks up and introduces himself to Eddie with his Martin with him. Had about a 1935 Martin or something, and played him some songs and set up a gig with Eddie. You know, so it was like his first time playing in a decade anywhere but down there at the beach. And then the night that Eddie played, because no one knew him anymore, he'd disappeared. Eddie called all of us local songwriters and musicians, and he said, "You guys, if you don't show up tonight for this guy, you're crazy. You know, you got to check him out. He's unbelievable." So all of us, we all showed up. You know, Christian Bush and Andrew Hyra and I don't know if y'all remember Billy Pilgrim back in the day, and Uncle Mark Reynolds and myself, Matthew Kaler. We all showed up, a bunch of us, and got him a good little crowd. And all of the whole crowd was musicians and songwriters and old friends of Larry John, and he had a good time there, and had him a nice glass of brandy, and he'd say, "Back in my drinking days," while he was swirling the glass, you know. I want to do this one by Larry John because I'm such a huge fan of his, and he was the reason I like to do his songs is because he's such an influence on me. We're obviously different. It's kind of like Paul McCartney being a massive fan of Little Richard, but then once he's singing and playing it, it doesn't really sound anything like Little Richard, right? Except for maybe the whoo that he does, right? He definitely got that from Little Richard. So, you know, you may not get the influence, but the storyteller aspect, the kind of combining soul and country and folk and rock and roll and all of that together. And Larry John was a Georgia songwriter. You can catch a really cool concert with he and I together live at the Bluebird on YouTube. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This guy was just off the chain good. And I think it's around 2000 when we did that show. And it was the most requested show from Live at the Bluebird on Turner South back when they had that network. This one's he wrote this one about his favorite Georgia barrier island. Toombs County Farm, 34. Jack Boss laying dead down a cotton row. Long John's run in. Where's he gonna go? I bet you he goes down to the Sapelo. His woman's down on the Sapelo. So row him easy, row him slow, row him on cross to the Sapelo. Before the boss man went down, I heard Long John say, he said, if a man's a man at all, he won't let himself be treated this way. He said, if a man's a man at all, he won't let himself be treated this way. Now he's out there running a long chain on. I bet you he goes down to the Sapelo. So row him easy, quiet and slow. Row him on cross to the Sapelo. One more time. Row him easy, row him slow. Row him on cross to the Sapelo. His mama's down on the Sapelo. He's got a refuge on the Sapelo. Yeah, Larry John Wilson. Let's see what we got here. All of ye fallen fathers and mothers, I hear you calling from deep in your grave. Songs about Jesus, songs about freedom, shackles and crosses, and the way blood behaves. Sailed the great ocean, sold down the river, white fields of cotton and green fields of cane. The sweat from my body, the tears of our children, washed in the blood promised land reign. All the angels did sing, for promises buried in fields that lay fallow. The bell is too broken to let freedom ring. Are the dreams of the dreamers all misbegotten? 'Cause mama's still crying for the dying and dead, and the war rages on, and the whole thing is rotten. And the blood we all bleed is the same shade of red. Thank you. Thanks a lot, y'all. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, coming your way. I always try to do that one for sure. I met him on the cliffs of Twin Rocks, Oregon. He was sitting on his bedroll looking just like Richard Brodigan, and I thought he was an old man. He wasn't 37. He said he'd been riding trains for 15 years and drawing portraits to keep his belly full of beers. And it looked to me like he died and missed the plane to heaven. But he's a nice old guy for a younger man. He had a bottle of Mad Dog he held tightly in his hand. And he wound right to make his point. And I listened as he told his tales of wine and women and county jails. We finished off that bottle and smoked a half joint. He said, I came here to watch the sun disappear into the ocean. It's been years since I smelled this salty sea. He turned his bottle up and down, saw me lost and he saw me found. He said, I don't know what I've been looking for. Maybe me. Well, I told him I too had been traveling around, just living out of my van from town to town to playing for tips and whatever records and cassette tapes I could move. I said, I don't reckon I'll be making it big, man. It's hard to get rich off a tour of coffee house gigs. He said, yeah, man, but ain't it a blessing to do what you want to do? I told him, yes, I pulled out till I watched the sun disappear into the ocean. It's been years since I smelled the salty sea. We turned another bottle up and down. Saw me lost and he saw me found. And I said, I don't know what I've been looking for. Maybe me. I said, it's getting kind of late. I better be heading down this interstate. Can I give you a lift? I'm headed to San Francisco Bay. He said, nope, I think I'm gonna sit right here and rest. Maybe wait on the Tokyo, Montana Express. I might just lay here and dream my life away. Sit right here and watch the sun disappear into the ocean. It's been years, my Lord, now. It's been years. I'm gonna turn my bottle up and down. You can see me, Lord. You can see me found. I met him on the cliffs of Twin Rocks, Oregon. He was sitting on his bedroll looking just like Richard Brodigan. Just like him. Thanks, y'all. Hey, I'm doing something pretty cool in September. Lots of stuff's opening up where my touring and all that, you know, as this thing hopefully subsides. Got a lot of dates booked for the fall. And I did this a couple of years ago. Of course, we couldn't do it last year, but I did this thing where working with a riverboat on the Mississippi River and doing this 2-day cruise down the Mississippi. And it's on the riverboat Twilight, and which is an old riverboat, and it's so cool. And John Hartford actually used to play music on this boat, and also I believe he captained it. But it's a very cool experience. I loved doing it 2 years ago. We're doing it again this September. Let's see, I think the dates are, the 11th and 12th of September. It's really affordable and really fun, and not only I'm playing, and then there's some riverboat type guys playing some music too. But I do 2 concerts on the boat, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. There should be a link for those of you watching at home that you can check out and go there if you're interested. And those in the audience, check out riverboattwilight.com. And if you're interested in doing that, it's a lot of fun. And we can all go down the Big Muddy together. It's a lot of fun, and I loved it. So I wanted to plug that show in particular. I'm doing a bunch of different shows around the Midwest and the Northeast in the fall. But that one's something that I really will enjoy, and I hope you'll join me on it. Sharing with us what he knows. His shining eyes are big and blue, and all around him water flows. This world to him is new. This world to him is new. To touch a face, to kiss a smile, new eyes see no race, the essence of a child, the essence is born to shimmer, he's born to shine, he's born to radiate, he's born to live, he's born to love. Let's don't teach him how to hate. True love, it is a rock, smoothed over by a stream. There's no ticking of a clock that truly measures what that means. That truly measures what that means. This thing we call our time. I heard a brilliant woman say, she said, you know, it's crazy how I want to try and capture mine. I think I love this woman's way. I think I love this woman, the way she shimmers, the way she shines, the way she radiates, the way she lives, the way she loves, the way she never hates. Sometimes I think of all this surrounding me, and I know it all is being mine. Yes, I do. She kisses me, she wraps herself around me. She gives me love, she gives me time. Yeah, I feel fine. Oh, I feel but time I cannot change. So here's to looking back, way back. You know, I drink a whole bottle of my pride and I toast to change, to keep these demons off my back. Just get these demons off my back. 'Cause I wanna shimmer, I wanna shine, I want to radiate, I want to live, oh, I wanna love, I wanna try, learn now not to hate, not to hate. you. Thanks a lot. I wrote that one back in the Eddie's Attic days when Eddie was there, and I remember that was on my Eggshells album first. It came out in '96. I wrote it in '95, and I put it on a live record that me and Matthew Kaler did together called Jeff's Last Dance. And yeah, and we were trying to figure out what to call our thing, you know, and we were looking at old Civil War lithographs, I believe, and we found this one of Jefferson Davis, and he was dressed in women's clothing, and he was surrounded by Union soldiers. And then the headline was, and this was probably in a Union paper only. I'm guessing it wasn't. I don't even think the Confederates had papers at that point. But he was. The story goes is that he dressed up in his wife's clothes, and then they were trying to escape that way, and they were caught. I don't know if that's really how it happened, but the lithograph is fantastic. And it's just great looking, you know, because he's like got a knife out, man. He got the fight in him, and all the Union soldiers are around him, and his wife's like, oh, you know, and we were like, that's the album cover, right there, and we're gonna call it Jeff's Last Dance. So that's what we decided, and we did Jeff's Last Dance Volume 1 and 2, and we did a bunch of our own songs, and then had a cover or two on there, and I know Matthew recently did a James Taylor tribute show here. I don't know if any of you guys were here, but I heard that went really, really well. He's still out and about doing stuff. And maybe we can do another show together at some point. I'd really like that. All right, Beautiful Wreck. A lot of questions about who's the Beautiful Wreck? Who's it about? And it's not about any one particular person for me, because I play in a lot of bars, you know, and most of the venues I play in have a bar in them. And when I wrote this, I wrote it with again, it was a song that I co-wrote with several people, so everyone has their own perspective of that. And we were putting together songs for the Thorns album. And Glenn Phillips, who you know from Walk on the Ocean, and All I Want Is to Be With You, those mid-'90s Toad the Wet Sprocket songs. He's the singer and main songwriter. He had written this lyric, and we were working on this song together, and he wrote, I've lost count of the times I've given up on you, but you make such a beautiful wreck you do. And then it went to this chorus. We were all working on it, and the chorus was terrible. We just didn't like it at all. And we decided to move on to a whole nother song. And so that song just went away. And years later, it was probably 5 years after that, I found that lyric in a big cardboard box full of other lyrics that I hadn't used yet. And I recognized that it wasn't my writing, and it was Glenn's handwriting. And I'm like, oh man, what a great first line, and what a great title. And I've got to write a chorus to this. And so I call up Glenn Phillips and asked him if he cared if I worked on this song more, and came up with a suitable chorus, because the one we had written was not good. And he said, yeah, man, go for it. And I needed a good song, because I had just signed with a new label. I needed a song we could get on Americana and AAA radio. And so Beautiful Wreck it was. I finished that one up, and it went to #1 in '06. And so that was my second #1. It wasn't a pop #1, but I never expected to have a pop #1. That was a happy accident. Let's make sure this whole guitar is in tune here. I've been beating it hard tonight. Let's see. Yeah. So this is Glenn's beginning on it, and you'll see where I picked it up with the chorus here. I've lost count of the times I've given up on you. But you make such a beautiful wreck, you do. Yeah, there's a tavern on the corner called the Milky Way. And you look so at home there, it makes me afraid. And at the dark end of this bar, what a beautiful wreck you are. When you go too far, beautiful wreck you are. Now all the plans that you had from 7 years ago, like all the promises you made, I watched them come and go. You put your keys in the car, but it would not drive. With your hands on the wheel, looking barely alive. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm still sitting here waiting on the passenger side for you to make up your mind. For you to make up your mind. At the dark end of this bar, what a beautiful wreck you are. When you go too far, beautiful wreck you are. What a beautiful, such a beautiful wreck you are. What a beautiful, such a beautiful wreck. I've lost count of the times I've given up on you. But you make such a beautiful wreck, you do. Yeah, you make such a beautiful wreck, you do. You make such a beautiful wreck, you do. At the dark end of this bar, what a beautiful wreck you are. When you go too far, a beautiful wreck you are. What a beautiful, such a beautiful wreck you are. What a beautiful, such a beautiful wreck you Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's fun to kind of dig up something that you haven't messed with in years and rediscover it and then complete it. I knocked out every string on that one. All right, let's see here. Over the last year and a half or so, it's been so crazy for all of us. This song I wrote with Tom Ryan, plays bass with me. Everybody knows him as Panda. And it was written years before COVID came out, but when COVID hit, to me the song took on a whole nother meaning, you know, because everyone kind of went inside and everyone was kind of their own prepper, you know. I remember when it first hit and the whole toilet paper thing and the water issue and everything, it was like, this is getting crazy, you know. So I'll do this one for you now. It's a funny little song, and when we wrote it, we were watching TV. We were doing laundry and watching TV, Tom and I, on the road. We were down at 30A Songwriters Festival, and the next morning we were gonna drive down to Miami and get on a cruise ship and do this wonderful cruise that we do every year called Kayamo, which is a wonderful cruise. It's already sold out this year, but look into it for next year. It's not all just singer-songwriter types, but let's see, this year, if I can recall, Emmylou Harris is going to be on the boat. For years and years, John Prine was one of the headliners. Lyle Lovett has done it a bunch. John Hyatt has done it a bunch. Brandy Carlisle has done it a bunch. But it's just a great time. We got a lot of bands and a lot of songwriter types and about 3,000 music fans out on the Caribbean for about 7-8 days. So check out Kayamo for next year. It sells out like really quickly. So anyway, that's how we were writing it. We were doing laundry and watching TV, and we started with the news, and that was no fun to watch. So we turned it to The Walking Dead and learned about the zombies a little bit, and then we watched some Doomsday Preppers, and what else? We were watching something else. Naked and Afraid, that was it. That was it. Naked and Afraid. That inspired this song. It's called The Pre-Apocalyptic Blues. Well, you can read it in the papers, watch it on the news. Everybody's got the pre-apocalyptic blues. You better be ready when the shit goes down. Well, you better head on down to Sam's Club, get you a bucket full of rice and beans, a year's supply of 2-ply for your composting latrine, so you'll be ready when the shit goes down. No, don't hesitate, don't procrastinate, or I'll be running scared. There ain't no second chances for the bravery impaired, 'cause you know there's a couple of commies hiding underneath your bed, and the zombie's gonna eat up all the brains in your head. I got a Rambo knife with a compass on it and a ballistic bug-out bag. I got a AK-47, about 100 extra mags. I'm gonna be ready when the shit goes down. Terrible disease. You say you ain't worried, I say honky please. You better be ready when the shit goes down. By my jacuzzi, there's an Uzi and an RPG. Got a Stinger missile mounted on my wife's SUV. They won't get to me, no matter who they are. I got landmines buried all over my yard, 'cause I read it in the papers, y'all. I watched it on the news, and now I got the cryptic pre-apocalyptic blues. I'm gonna be ready when the shit goes down. Will you be ready down? Oh no. love McMurtry. Is he playing here in the fall, right?
September 11th.
September 11th. It's already sold.
Added his second show in the afternoon,
You did?
and it's not sold out yet.
So if you're not going on the cruise down the Mississippi River with me on the Riverboat Twilight, September 11th, you could come right here to the Red Clay Music Foundry and see James McMurtry in his second afternoon show. Is that right? He's unbelievable. He's so grouchy and grumpy that he's on his picks it says Grim Jim. And but he's probably the greatest living lyricist I know about. He's an unbelievable songwriter. He really is. Hell of a guitar player too, man. All right, I'll do an old James McMurtry tune here for you. Young Johnny, he really had a way. He did his homework on the school bus, and he always got an A. And the girls liked Johnny more than anyone, except maybe Elton John. Later on in high school, he couldn't keep his red suspenders on. He had a room full of trophies from the track meets and the tennis games he'd win. He was a full-blown whiz kid. He is bound to be a Renaissance man. And then he went on off to college. He got his head stuck in a different state of mind. And when they asked him, was it alcohol? He told them it was nothing of the kind. It's just life. It's just life, Mom. Oh, where's Johnny? Has he gone away? Oh, where's Johnny? Will he be back someday? Well, now Johnny's all right. Just turned out his lights. He'd have paid him no mind. He'd not been so bright. He opened up his eyes, snapped out in a groove, both sides of everything, and he found he couldn't move. Johnny moved back home. Now he reads a lot of poetry and plays. And he'll sit out in the backyard and not say a word to anyone for days. Oh, when his folks gave up, they'd no longer even bother getting through. He's 30-odd years old. They must have figured there's just so much you can do. So much. Mother keeps his pictures in the scrapbook in the drawer with her pearls. And she polishes the trophies that he won back when they thought he'd saved the world. Back when the girls liked Johnny more than anyone, except maybe Elton John. She wonders where's her little boy with the braces and the red suspenders gone. Just life, Mom. Just life. Just life, Mom. Just life. Oh, just life. Yeah, man, James McMurtry. One of my favorites is off that same album. It's the album Candyland, which he released, I think, in like 1990 or something. It was one of those records that I was like, I want to do that full time for a living. I want to be like that. And the title track is called Candyland, and it's all about the suburbs as far as I can tell. And the the lyrics go something like this. Well, the second verse is my favorite. Gray squirrel running down the telephone wire. Kids around the poolside screaming like cats on fire. Cats on fire chasing after the ice cream van. That circus music's got to be hell on the ice cream man. He clips his roach and he hauls his load, taking his half out of the middle of the road in the Candyland. Isn't that great? He's so good. And all right. Yeah, we were label mates for several years on Columbia Records. Done some gigs together over the years. He's just wonderful. I love him. And I know his dad passed away this year, and the great writer Larry McMurtry. This is a weird little tuning for you guitar players out there. I get asked what this tuning is a lot by guitar players, and I'm almost embarrassed to tell them because it's it makes no sense. It's got 2 low G's on it, which in itself is a problem. It's problematic for the player, but when I wrote this, the music part of this, I was listening to a lot of Joni Mitchell on the road, and I was listening to the album Blue, and she plays a lot of Appalachian dulcimer on that record. And I didn't have a dulcimer, and so I was trying to make my guitar sound like one. And the more I messed around with it, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really sound like a dulcimer, but as the story came together on the song, though, I came up with that music part somewhere in the desert of Arizona, and I was headed to LA for a little gig at this Chinese restaurant I used to play at, and it's a really cool little place in Hollywood, and it may still be there. I haven't been there in years, but it's called Genghis Cohen, and it's a music venue and a Chinese, really high-end Chinese restaurant. And the food there is fantastic. So, and you would play for tips. They'd pass a hat, and they had church pews in there. Seats about 30 people in the section that there's music in. There's a curtain they pull, and these little church pews. And you never know who's going to show up at Genghis Cohen to play music. You know, it could be Jackson Browne or Ricky Lee Jones or or Joni Mitchell and Neil Young. People, all kinds of people have just kind of showed up and played their music at a particular night, kind of unannounced, you know. And that was the venue I liked playing because they didn't make you pay to play. And most of the LA venues, it's a pay to play kind of situation. If you don't have a huge following already, you have to pay the club. And I couldn't afford to do that for sure. A woman named Jody, who now lives in Georgia, she came up to me after my little show there, and she said, "You're a storyteller, and that's unusual in this day and age, this being 1997." And I said, yeah, I know. It's not the hippest thing, you know. And she goes, "I know, I love it. I think it's great." And she goes, "I got a story for you." And I said, "Well, sit down. I'm about to have some Chinese food here." And she just blew my mind with these crazy stories of growing up in Hollywood, California. And very different childhood than mine. So the lyric part of this song came in about 30 minutes that night late in my journal. I just wrote it out, and it happened to sort of rhyme. And I ended up calling it Lullaby. Well, she grew up with the children of the stars in the Hollywood Hills and the Boulevard. Her parents threw big parties, you know, everyone was there. They hung out with folks like Dennis Hopper, and Bob Seger, and Sonny and Cher. She feels safe now in this bar on Fairfax. From the stage I can tell that she can't let go and she can't relax. Just before she hangs her head to cry, I sing to her a lullaby. I sing, everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye, rockabye. Everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye, rockabye, rockabye. She still lives with her mom outside the city, down that street about a half a mile. And all her friends tell her that she's so pretty. She'd be a whole lot prettier, you know, if she smiled once in a while. But you know, even her smile, it looks just like a frown. She's seen her share of devils in this angel town. And everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye, rockabye. And everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye, rockabye. Told her, said, I ain't so sure about this place. It's hard to play a gig in this town and keep a straight face. You It seems like everybody's got a plan. It's kind of like Nashville with a tan. But everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye, rockabye. Everything's gonna be alright. Won't you rockabye, rockabye? Everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye, rockabye. Everything's gonna be alright. Yes, it is. So rockabye. Say bye-bye, baby. Say bye-bye. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys drive safe home and drive safely home. And I hope to see you again soon. Be good to one another. And thanks so much for coming tonight.